I didn't really have any DJs that I looked to for inspiration, but there was one particular DJ that stood out, was Kid Capri. And that's because, TV allowed us to see Kid Capri and I love comedy. And Def Comedy Jam we used to watch religiously. And at the end of the Def Comedy Jam, there was this DJ who would provide the music for everybody to dance afterwards. And he would also have the scratches and the cuts and all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? So, Kid Capri was one of those ones that was in the industry that you was like, wow.
Conversations with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole. Let's talk about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I wanna know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about, let's talk about, yeah. Let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
So I am delighted to be here with DJ Demp. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so Demp, tell me, I know you're a DC native, but came to Tallahassee back when you were in grade school.
Yeah, when I was a youngin'.
Uh-huh.
Moved with the parents, you don't have no choice.
Right.
So we moved here when I was, grade school. So I really pretty much, although I went to school in DC for a short period of time, I pretty much started my schooling here in Tallahassee.
You have family still in DC?
Yes, all my family's still in DC.
Okay.
We tried to get some of them to move here, and they moved, and they were here for a while, and then they ended up going back.
Gotcha.
They wasn't really with the this is more like country life versus that's city life.
So what high school did you graduate from?
I graduated from Leon.
Okay.
I went to Gabi and I went to Leon. I graduated from Leon.
All right.
I would have graduated from Gabi, but I started to lose enthusiasm about school.
Gotcha.
It was something that started distracting me, and I had to get back on track.
Okay.
So I transferred to Leon.
All right. And been DJing since you were 13?
I've been messing with music since I was 13. Since I was probably a little bit younger than 13, but from like a document like 13, I was providing the music for like house parties or a church function here or whatever. And that was back when it was cassette decks. It wasn't the turntables.
No, you
I just
tell the
had
age.
have a dual cassette deck, and I would push play on this one and put, just providing the music. You know what I'm saying? So.
Gotcha. Now, who were some of the DJs that you looked to or were inspiration to you as you were coming up?
I didn't really have any DJs that I looked to for inspiration, but there was one particular DJ that stood out, was Kid Capri. And that's because, TV allowed us to see Kid Capri and I love comedy. And Def Comedy Jam we used to watch religiously. And at the end of the Def Comedy Jam, there was this DJ who would provide the music for everybody to dance afterwards. And he would also have the scratches and the cuts and all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? So, Kid Capri was one of those ones that was in the industry that you was like, wow. And then I had a cousin that DJ who kind of showed me before I went off to the military. He showed me some basic techniques of scratching, and I think it was him that he was one of the reasons why I was like, you know what, this is really, really, really what I want to do. And then I watched the movie Juice, and I like Juice.
Okay.
So those are like
some of the influences.
Those are some of like the influences that really. But I was already, even before them, I was already into music.
Okay.
So it wasn't like I saw them and was like, oh, this is what I want to do based off of what they're doing. They were just some people that you see in a career that you're in, that you like, oh wow, okay, this is what I see what it's like. You know what I'm saying? So.
So even at Leon, did you look to DJing to possibly be a career, or was it something you kind of?
I didn't know it would be a career.
When did you find that out, or when did you that kind of was like
When did I find it would be a career?
Yeah, when did you
Well,
when did you have that aha moment like, oh, I could do this?
Once I got back from, because I went to the military
Okay.
for a split second. Once I came home, I decided to buy some equipment, and I went into the mode of practicing and really learning turntablism and stuff like that, and standing when the DJ is in his room and he's practicing and mixing and practicing and all of that stuff. That's when that occurred. That was 93, 94.
Okay.
And then I started doing parties. And once I learned that you can get paid, really get paid from DJing, that's when it became a career. Then my aha moment, one day I was doing a party for a Greek organization, and I looked at the flyer and my name was bigger than the name of the party and the Greek organization's name.
Okay.
So I was like, wow, if my name is the biggest on the flyer, it has to be something about me that's a draw. And once I figured that part out, I was like, you know what, this is really something that you can do yourself, and you don't have to get booked by nobody else. You can actually throw your own party. I said, because if somebody's paying you, then they're making a bigger bag than you in order to be able to pay you. So you need to be on that side of it.
Absolutely.
And that's when I decided to take it seriously.
Okay. Now, one of the things that you were a part of was Ghost Town DJs, right? And the song My Boo, which charted back in '96.
Yeah, we dropped that song in '96.
So, and it also had a recharge back in what, 2020 or 2020?
Yeah, with the Running Man
With the
challenge.
Running Man,
Yeah, that was at our 20th anniversary mark.
Okay. And what was that experience like for you?
Which one? The recharge or just in general?
Both. When it charted, what was that like?
It was surreal. The beginning part was like, it was new. It was something I had never. I mean, I was already DJing, already, pretty much had made a name for myself in Tallahassee, and then became a member of Ghost Town DJs, and then that was different because that was on a much bigger platform. That was national. That was my first time experiencing people catering to you, flying you everywhere, and you performing in front of hundreds and, thousands
of people.
Of people. And that was that time period. And so then that's actually when Demp Week started.
Okay.
Was coming off of the tour from Ghost Town DJs. And then it kind of it died down. It died down, and, because we didn't make any songs after that. And it was like, okay, cool. But then come back to when the recharge came, I remember sitting home, and then I got a call from TMZ. And the guy from TMZ was like, hey, did you know that they're doing a challenge off of y'all song, My Boo? And I was like, huh? And so he said, let me send you a bunch of things. He was like, this is going crazy. And I hadn't even seen it yet. So he sent me the video of the Maryland guys, and he sent me some NBA player, and he sent me a baseball player, and they were just all doing this Running Man challenge. And so I sent it to my manager. I'm like, yo, did you see this? And he was like, no. And so TMZ was the first one that contacted me. Then Vibe magazine contacted me.
Oh, wow.
And I remember vividly that this was the same year that Prince died, the same time period that Prince died, because as I'm getting ready to do these interviews, the Vibe magazine interview was one that I was really excited about. And they called back and it was like, well, we got to put yours on hold because Prince just died. And we have to cover this story, and we'll come back to you.
Gotcha.
It's like, hey, listen, I understand. So, but that was that. And it was crazy because it was all over again. The next thing you know, I'm back on BET Awards, performed at the 106 in Park again. And I had already been doing TV, but that recharge is just something different.
Yeah.
We hit the charts again,
Yeah.
and then back on the road doing interviews and things of that nature. So it was cool.
That's magical. Magical, magical. Now, you mentioned Demp Week. So what was the inspiration around it? And let me just say, congratulations on 25 years.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what was the inspiration behind Demp Week?
Really, 96 was the year that my boo dropped. We toured all of 96, all the way up until the ending of close. It was like November, December when we came off a tour. We had our banquet with So Def. They had just given us a gold plaque. We had just went gold for the So Def Bass All Stars, which we had the lead single. So we had just got our gold album, and my birthday is January the 9th. So coming back home, I was already the DJ in the city in like pretty much Tuesday through Sunday, all the clubs. I didn't have a Monday event, but like Tuesday through Sunday. And I just was celebrating my birthday. I was celebrating my birthday. I was celebrating the gold album accomplishment. I was just celebrating life in general. I didn't name it Demp Week. I was just having fun. And so each night I was putting up balloons in the club, and tonight we celebrate my birthday. Tomorrow we celebrate my birthday.
Okay.
And Vaughn Wilson, DJ Ace, he was like, wow, this is like Demp Week. He was like, this is like a Demp Week. And that's what clicked.
Okay.
You know, it was like, okay, Demp Week.
So who
This is
knew
what
Vaughn coined the phrase Demp Week?
He coined the phrase, because he said it. He coined the phrase Demp Week because he was just saying this is like a Demp Week because I had a whole week full of parties.
Right.
And nobody had ever had a week full of parties besides Greek organizations. You know, they had their weeks. And so once it was named, then I came back with it again.
Okay.
And then, you know, but people had so much fun. And the reason why it stuck to a lot of people was because I was already in the industry at this time. I had already made a name for myself. And Tallahassee is not a big city. You don't get celebrities coming into the city just on a normal. You can't just go to the mall and see your favorite celebrity. But because my connections during that time without social media, I would have celebrities come to the city. And it wouldn't be like you would see them at a concert. It would be like these celebrities you would see at your local store or whatever, because they're in the city celebrating. They were coming to hang out. They wasn't coming just to go to a concert and you see them on the stage and then they're gone.
Right.
They were coming like Rick Ross. I remember the time when he came, he stayed for 3 days.
Okay.
And it was people like, oh my God, he just came into Burger King. Oh my God, he just, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
I would have those type of celebrities that would come in town and they were more personable with the people in the city versus you just seeing them on stage somewhere and they're gone.
Gotcha.
And they're, you know, so people, they gravitated to it. They were like, oh my God, I had so much fun. It was a week full of parties.
Right.
And the parties were personal. It was, you know what I'm saying? And so people had so much fun. I remember somebody saying, you need to do this again. Like, you need to do one more week. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I can't do 2 weeks.
2 weeks
like,
of birthday, right?
But yeah, they loved it, and
Okay.
I continued to do it until I got tired of it. And I remember getting to 10, and 10 was supposed to be my last one. And I had announced that I had announced 10, this is it, because I said, I was like, okay, once I get to 10, I could end it. It will be a good 10-year run, boom, boom, boom. And I remember the mayor saying, you can't end this. The people look forward to it too much. You have something going on. And then
Who was the mayor at the time?
John Marks.
Okay.
He gave me my first proclamation.
Okay.
And then I remember confirmation for that was I was in Panama City at La Villa. And I remember walking in, I was about to walk into La Villa and a random chick just stopped me. And she was like, I have a question. Why are you stopping Demp Week? We look forward to that. And that hit me, that stuck with me for so long that I was just like, it's bigger than me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At this point, it's like, now you're taking, if you stop it, you're taking away something that people, you have created this thing that people look forward to. and you take it away and you're stripping something that Tallahassee don't have many events. And so it was only my event and homecoming at the time.
Right.
And then they started another event that the Capitol started, but
Okay.
the luau.
Let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
Stay tuned for more conversations with Nicole.
What is good, Tallahassee? If you are a brand, a business owner, a real estate agent, an entrepreneur, an artist of any kind, be sure to contact us at 7 Figure Vision for all of your photography and videography needs. We can shoot your next music video, event, documentary, or even document the process of your next flip as a real estate investor. So be sure to book us right now at VIIFIGUREVISION.com, or you can visit us on Facebook or Instagram at VIIFIGUREVISION.
Let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
Well, let me ask you. So you mentioned it being bigger than you. I noticed that you do anti-bullying rallies, or have, as part of Demp Week.
It is.
What's the premise behind that? Or you go from parties to now this social engagement or community engagement on anti-bullying.
Well, I've always given back. That from day one, even before the term "Make It Rain" in the club. I remember we used to one of my first events. We would throw money and roses off of the stage, and we would say, "This is the beginning of the year. We're giving back at the beginning of the year."
Okay.
And so I've always been a part of doing stuff for the community or doing stuff for the kids or anything of that nature. That's just always been in me. So one year, I connected with a young lady named Tiffany Love, and Tiffany she was like Miss Houston. She had won many pageants, and she had contacted me via social media saying what she wanted to do. She had this idea of her wanting to be a part of Demp Week and what she does. And one year I was in Atlanta, and she just so happened to be in Atlanta. We ran into each other, and we had to sit down. And she was like, "Well, I do anti-bullying, and I do whatever, and I would love to do it during your week."
Okay.
And so I was like, that's great. That's a great idea. Let's do it. So we partnered up for my first anti-bully rally, and it was amazing.
Really?
And I end up getting a proclamation for that because nobody had been doing anti-bullying here. And as we know, that's a real, touchy subject.
It is.
And people go through it no matter what your age is. So, I end up doing like a few years with them, and then we end up parting ways for whatever reasons. We end up parting ways. I felt like they left me hanging. And I'm one of those type of people, I don't give up. I'm very relentless when it comes to something I have my mind set to.
Okay.
So they made it, in no discredit to the city, but the facility that I was using tried to give me a bunch of red tape, different than my previous years. I'm like, I've been doing this. They're like, well, this year you need this, and this year you need this, and this year we can't do it without you having this, and you have to pay for this. And I'm like, where's all this coming from? This is 3 days before my event. Like, how am I getting hit with this 3 days before my event? The people who were actually the ones who used to come put on the event, the speakers and all that stuff, they were like, well, we can't come. We're not going to be able to make it, and da-da-da-da. And so now I'm looking at myself like, do you have to cancel this? Or do you keep it going?
Can you do something else? Yeah.
So I called Scott Carswell at the Moon, who had already been the DJ at the Moon since Demp Week started. I was DJ at Wednesday nights. I called Scott and I told him, I was like, yo, I have an event that, they trying to, I can't do it at this place anymore. Scott was like, well, the moon is yours.
Okay.
This is your home.
Nice.
Do it here. So I ended up moving it to the moon. Now the people who were supposed to be doing it with me, they're like, well, we can't do with the moon because that's a nightclub. And the moon is not a nightclub, it's a venue.
Right.
We have daddy-daughter dance there. We have stuff for the,
a number of different
the mental
things.
kids, whatever.
Right.
We do all kind of number of things at the moon. So I'm like, well, it's going to be at the moon. It ended up working out better.
Okay.
Because now we have a platform. Now we have a stage. Now we have enough facility.
You have everything you need.
For the kids to be able to do what they need to do, because we had so many dance teams performing. Now they have a real stage that they can perform on, because at first they were performing in the center of a floor and everybody else was just surrounding them.
Gotcha.
So now I have big screens that I can project whatever the logos or whatever the videos that I need to project. Now I have a podium. Now I have a microphone. Now I have the music. Now I have everything that I need. And I think sometimes doors close on you, so that way you can move stuff out the way and make room for better things to happen.
Absolutely.
And that change was so much better for my event, and I was so glad that I didn't, because a lot of times when you're faced with adversity, you will give up, you will shut down, and I don't like doing that.
Okay.
So I kept it going, and it's been growing bigger and bigger ever since.
Good deal.
And I love it.
Awesome. Now let's shift gears a little bit, although my question is community related. Demp
We
House.
have a lot to talk. I'm in conversation with Nicole. We could do this all day.
We could do this all
I
day.
have a lot to talk about, but I want to keep it to a minimum. Okay. I know we have to keep it to a minimum.
Well, let's go. So tell me about Demp House. Opened in May of 2021. And what is it and who's it for?
Demp House is, okay, how Demp House came about was, I have a business partner, her name is Serena Pillay. Serena owns Anchor Treatment Center, which is a substance abuse counseling facility. And so they deal with substance abuse and mental health and things of that nature, where they do counseling, treatment, they help you, whatever you're dealing with. And so Serena became my business partner in the pandemic time. I met her previously, but I didn't meet her. I met her through somebody. You meet somebody and somebody's there with them. I didn't physically meet her, but she was there. And we had mutual friends that we knew. But anyway, she came to me, she met me during the pandemic. DJs started going live on social media.
All right.
And she happened to tune into one of my lives. It was crazy. It's like what do they call it, divine synchronism or synchronicity, whatever they call it. She happened to be, the way she explained to me was she was about to get off of her social media because so much negativity. And she said she was scrolling, like, you just scroll, you thumbing. And she was like, this was going to be her last time. She was about to deactivate her page. And she came across my live. Well, I'm on live doing an event for a sorority because they had booked me. And she was on there. And at this time, people tip you. And so she tipped me like an odd number with change. And it was like weird because people normally tip you, even numbers, say even number of dollars. She tipped me like a number, I forgot what it was, and it was like change on it. So I inboxed. I was like, I was telling people thank you. I'm like, thank you. Well, what does these numbers mean? She was like, oh, those are my favorite numbers. You know what I'm saying? So she was like, that's why. She was like, I don't know anything about tipping. I just, So we ended up getting into a conversation. She asked me to help her out. She was the only, and I'm just giving you the backstory real quick to lead up to it. She was the only facility in Tallahassee that could get masks. I don't know if y'all remember when the pandemic first hit, there was a mask shortage.
Right.
I remember when I bought the last four masks out of Target before they even shut down N95s.
Okay.
And nobody could get masks, not even the hospital. We were the only people that could get masks.
Gotcha.
She asked me to help her with the masks, to help her get the word out that she was selling masks.
Okay.
And that she would pay me off of the masks. I told her no, I wouldn't do it. And then she asked me again, I thought about it, and I told her yeah. So then we formed a relationship of business at that point.
Okay.
Then moved forward, because this was like around March, April, when the pandemic first hit. Then move forward, she always does her banquet for Anchor, and it's a fundraiser banquet. Judge Nina was telling her that she doesn't think it'll be a good idea to do her banquet because it might not be a lot of attendance because of COVID. It's going to be hard to do your banquet.
Right.
So she ended up knowing that Demp Week was coming up. And so she asked me, she said, hey, would you, Demp Week is in January. At this point, we're thinking that everything will be over, done with. She was like, I can't do my banquet without, would you mind partnering with me and we could do the banquet during your
during
your
Demp
event.
Week.
Yeah, we'll do the fundraiser banquet and you can make it, one of your Demp Week events. I was like, yeah, cool, that's fine. At this point, we had already been business partners.
Right.
Then she comes to me with the idea that she had of doing a sober living house. So she brought this idea. She comes to me with all kind of ideas. It's just a matter of whether I say yeah to them or not.
Okay.
So she comes to me with the idea of doing a sober living house. So she explained to me what a sober living house was, and how she knew that my background was helping people. I've always done feeding the homeless or doing stuff for the kids or whatever. And she was like, this could be something that would be right up, the alley of what you already do.
Right.
And so I looked into it and I was like, you know what, that would be cool. And she was like, and it'll be our first one and we can name it Demp House after you.
Gotcha.
I was like, that would be pretty nice.
Okay.
I was about to say that'd be pretty dope. But no pun intended.
You said it already.
I did. Okay. So I said that'd be pretty nice. And then we ended up thinking about how we was gonna do it and all that stuff. And we had a fundraiser for it. Put it together, fundraiser banquet. I used the moon again. Once again, Scott came through with me for the event. He didn't charge me for the facility because of what we were doing. We just had to pay for catering. We had to pay for the entertainment.
Okay.
And that was pretty much it. We didn't raise any money. It happened. We had a few people showed up. They bought tickets. The money that we raised was enough to pay for the catering and a little bit of the entertainment, and the rest we came out of pocket for.
Okay.
So it was already in the paper because the newspaper had covered. They did a press release off of the Demp House.
Okay.
And they did one off of Demp Week.
Okay.
And so because it was already in the paper and it's already this talk of this sober living house and everybody's asking me and we had a deadline of when we had projected we were going to open, and we were already getting close to that and it wasn't going to happen. We didn't have the funds to open up a sober living house because we didn't make any money off of the banquet.
Right.
And once again, here's my relentlessness. And we're looking at each other like, what are we going to do? And I was like, well, I've already put my name out there and I'm saying what we're going to do. So we just going to do the house ourselves. Like, we're going to buy the house. I put my own money up.
Okay.
Serena was like, well, no, you don't really have to put your money up. And so she started doing her due diligence. And Serena's very relentless as well. So there's other sober living houses here. One of the guys that runs one of the sober living houses hooked us up with Premier, which is the Gazzvini family. And they came to us with a proposal that they would buy a home and we could rent it out from them.
Okay.
So I'm like, sounds good, but no, I don't want to rent out nothing from nobody. I want to own. So I countered the offer and said that we want to buy the home. We'll do it with you all, but we want to buy the home. I want to have ownership in it. It's Demp House.
Gotcha.
So they said, okay, cool. So then that's how we became the homeowners of Demp House.
Okay.
And what it is Serena has had, the reason why she started Anchor was because she had family members that suffer from addiction and things of that nature and going through overdose and stuff like that.
Substance abuse and whatnot.
Substance abuse,
Right.
correct. And that was her calling.
Gotcha.
And so when she brought the idea to me of opening a sober living house, I'm all about helping. So we jumped into it.
Okay.
And started the sober living house, and it's a transitional home, and it's for people when you get out of rehab, anybody who's gone to rehab, they know it. Once you get out of rehab, it's almost like somebody coming out of jail. Once you come out of those doors, they push you out and that's it.
Right.
You have to figure out everything else on your own. There's no people that help you further what you're doing. So you can easily go back into those environments that have put you in that, led you in that place at the beginning.
In the first place, yeah.
We're the transitional home that once you come out of those environments, we help you continue your sobriety. You know what I'm saying? You're sober now. Now you need a network of people who can help you deal with your counseling and deal with,
Gotcha.
And because we already had a counseling facility, you automatically have a network. You don't have to worry about, well, where do I go to get this or where do I go to get this? With our connections, all you're doing is living in the house. We have everything else you need.
That's awesome.
We're not a treatment facility. We have the access to the treatment facility. We're just giving you a home that you can live in where you're around like-minded people and everybody who has the same common goal. And it's a beautiful home that you feel comfortable coming to it. We're not just throwing you into anything and giving you a cot to sleep on. Put a lot of time in the decor of the home, put a lot of paintings and affirmations on the wall, a lot of positive quotes and a lot of,
right, so a supportive space for them to be in.
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha. How many people can you accommodate?
We can accommodate up to 8 people.
Okay, and that's men and women, or
only men?
Only men.
Yeah, we're not trying to start a daycare as well. So you have to do it. You have to do it one at a time, unless you provide a facility that has corridors.
Gotcha.
And then you have to have 24/7, surveillance and all that stuff. But yeah, this is just a regular home. It's almost like a home with like roommates. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
It's like that. It's not a treatment facility.
All right.
So it's a regular home, and they come and go, but they live there, and
but they have rules. They have guidelines.
Yeah, you have guidelines. You have a curfew, and you have to you have random drug testing. You have to test. If you test positive, you have to leave the home up to I think 48 hours or until you test negative again on your next test. But we haven't had anybody relapse or anybody test positive since we've had the home open. Wow. Everybody's been, I've gotten people jobs. Everybody's come in and either they had a job already or, and they've been doing, it's been wonderful.
That's great.
And they like it. One thing about atmosphere is it also helps you in your mental. So, I made sure that I put a lot of, as Oprah would say, the love is in the detail. I put a lot of detail in everything that's in the home, from upstairs to downstairs, and I had to make it a place that I would live in. I didn't just make it a place for you to live in. You know what I'm saying? So that was the whole thing, and I'm very particular. I'm particular.
No.
So yeah, I'm very particular. I can't just stay in anything. So I made sure that it was a place. When just from buying the furniture to the decor, everything.
That you would want to stay in, right?
It was handpicked, and it's a place that I would actually, when I was doing it, I was like, this is me decorating my house. And I'm decorating Demp House. And I want my residents to feel like they're at home when they come in.
Absolutely.
This is their happy place. And that's how we made it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. Now, you've been in the business for many years and worked with many artists. Are there any artists that you would like to work with that you haven't?
Work with?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a few artists I would love to work with. I've met Jay-Z on a number of occasions. I've sat with him or been in a closed circuit like this where we having conversations or whatever. I've never worked with him. Like I've never had a chance to DJ for him or we've shared the same stage, but I've never had a chance to literally go over some plans like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. I haven't had to do that yet.
Okay.
So, Jay-Z, other than that, that's probably pretty much it.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
All right. Now what's next for DJ Demp?
I don't know. I don't have a bucket list. I just keep moving. I keep working because I feel like things will come. So if I had to have a goal, I would have surpassed that already, I think. Everything I've gotten in life, I would have never even imagined because I never planned for any of this. I never said or I want to be a DJ, or I never said it, or I want to do this, or everything has just happened. And I believe that if you keep working and you keep doing what you do, that things will fall in place, as what is to be will be. And God already has whatever's for you is for you. So I haven't said that. I mean, I know I would want to be in life. I know the things, but not that I'm content, but I'm happy.
Okay.
I'm happy with how my life has turned out.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just going to keep working, and whatever comes, I'm just going to be surprised as it comes along, and that's just what it is.
Okay. Now, if you could say something to the young people out there, because I know you've, over the years, seen them in music and, the message behind the music, what would you tell young people just about life and living and, some of the lessons maybe that you've learned throughout this life that you've lived?
Those lessons of adversity, those lessons of the roadblocks in life that will make you want to stop what you're doing and feel like that you're not doing enough, or that this is not it. Never give up on yourself. There's always going to be somebody who doesn't see your vision, that they will stop, but they have their own life to live. You have your own life. So when I was always faced with these things, if I would have stopped my anti-bully rally that year, I wouldn't have done my anti-bully rally this year. It was beautiful, and I know I touched kids, touched their hearts and their souls, and just by having, and every year it evolves. I have new guests and things of that nature. If I would have stopped when I was tired at Demp Week 10, I would have never seen 25 and never seen the blessings that come with the hard work that you put in. And so I just say never give up. Or if you have something in your mind set, just make sure you do it. And if there's a roadblock, get through it.
Okay.
And once you get through it, you're gonna feel much better.
Nice. All right. And then my final question is, what is your greater work?
I don't know. I push positivity. They got a new thing that they've been saying lately that's come from the West Coast. They say push P, and I think it means like play or whatever. But I push positivity, and I speak it all the time, and I love putting out positive energy, and I think that's my greater work. Although I'm a DJ and I'm a musician and I do it, but I think it's really about instilling positive energy into people, because I think that that's what makes the world go around. More positive energy it helps people, like, I don't know, like you tell somebody, like right now you're smiling. That's very infectious. You feel what I'm saying? Like, somebody will smile just because you're smiling at them. Mm-hmm. That's positivity. And so that's what I wake up and I put that positive message on my Facebook in the mornings, and people might be having a bad day and they might change their whole day around.
Mm-hmm. So
and
hopefully it'll be contagious, right?
Right.
All right. Well, thank you for spending some time with me today. I really appreciate it.
Of course. I hope I hope we touched on enough, because my story runs so deep.
It does.
It's so many different branches on this tree.
Mm-hmm. It does. So that means you have to come back then.
Yeah, we can probably do that one day.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, all the best to you too with all of the things that you're doing.
I appreciate it.
No
definitely.
problem. All right. And thank you all for joining us on Conversations with Nicole, where we are connecting the community through conversations. We'll see you next time.